to the computer. So yeah, it was a long day yesterday, and I got about 4 hours of sleep, which was good sleep. I slept well, but then you get up and you get disrupted just as you're falling asleep, and it kind of screws up the night. So yeah, it was a long day to say the least. Jason, hello, how are you? And Aqua Run is in here somewhere, but I missed her. Hello, Klingon Princess. There she is. Um, did I miss anyone? Oh, there's Aqua Run. Oh, hey now. The chat will run away from me. Yeah, it's and especially if you're sleeping and something spooks you out of a sleep just as you kind of like go into the happy place, and a phone rings and you're like, ugh, and your brain's all foggy because it's not working right. Um, yeah, it was a day, and that's why you see me on Discord. Some days I'm there a lot, and other days I'll come in and say hi, and some I don't show up at all. It's purely the running around kind of thing. But I hope everyone's doing well. And I got to listen to, hey, Hudson, always welcome to come here. By the way, check out this guy's channel, and there are a few others up there. So this is a a great chat going on right now. So that's always a good thing. So I got to listen to some analysts who are like, of course they're analysts saying, "Oh no, the world." There was a few though who said this could be an opportunity, not just for stock market, but like you want to start that business. And I wanted to get a little bit of feedback from both because the economy. I hope my live stream works tonight. Have you been having technical difficulties? Call Livingston. Oh, going big tonight. Oh, then I got to see that. Hey, Lucky. Yeah, well, my last live, I was trying to do multiple cameras while I was cooking and doing stuff, and that failed really badly. So I hope your live goes better than mine did. But so in order to understand what's going on, I want to go back 7 months to everyone's favorite White House speaker, aka Peppermint Patty. And I just wanted to replay a video of one of their statements. This was 7 months ago. So this was October 14th of 2021. Let me see if I can uh, hello screen. There we go. Okay, so circle back girl. Yeah, circle back girl. Oh wait, I'm gonna compare Circle Back Girl to the new one because that's awesome because they get more tone deaf as we go. Um, I went to the grocery store this weekend. Off the wall went to the grocery store, and he got some very generic items. Like it probably at an eyeball it looked like 50, $60, a solid little grocery run, $120. I got 10 things, none of which were super bougie. It was just, spices and generic shit. $140. And my brother in New Orleans, he went grocery shopping, and all I got was a text with a picture of the receipt saying FJB. So, but let's look back. If you have money, you said, like Mongoloid and Pillage. Well, I'll tell you what, Joe. We had scheduled a trip to Vegas because I'd never been to Vegas until last year, and we had scheduled it a while out. We paid it in payments, the whole 9 yards, and we went to Vegas. And I don't gamble. I played the slots a little. I don't. It's not a thing for me. I'm more like I like restaurants in historic places. So I wanted to see Hoover Dam. I wanted to see the Dinoco dinosaur. I wanted to see. Yeah, there's actually a Dinoco dinosaur out there. What the hell was it called? Simpson Oil, the big dinosaur, the green one. And hey, Nanya, Texas, how you doing? And we went there, and there was a very obnoxious crowd in Vegas this Sunday. That Sunday we arrived, and then by Monday they were gone. And I was like, what? That was weird. That's not what I expected in Vegas, right? And I asked a bartender at a little restaurant in some little hole in the wall. We were eating, kind of getting local cuisine. And I was like, what was all the people yelling and screaming in the hall? And he said, those were the stimulus check folks. I said, what? He said, oh, they were in the store next door buying Louis Vuittons and shit with stimulus checks instead of paying for their rent. And it turns out the bartender was actually a single dad. He's like, look, I've been struggling because, mom left us. I'm raising the kids alone. Fair enough. He said, anything I got, savings account or groceries. He said, I didn't waste a penny. And I was like, then you, sir, are smart. So you're going to see that, Joe, and it's absolutely agitating. Jump in the truck and head to the studio. Yeah, I've got to check out what Hudson's got going on this afternoon. No worries, Joe. Tell Loretta we send her love. So let's listen to Peppermint Patty. This is again October of 21. Let's listen to this because I'm gonna try and tell a story here today. Let me know if you have audio.
Is there anything new you can say about what the president himself has done this week to engage in those negotiations?
I can tell you that the president has been deeply engaged on the phone with members, getting updates from his team and senior members of his team on their conversations and discussions, eager to hear where there's agreement, where there's still disagreement, and how to shake things loose to move them forward.
And I have an FDA question, but not on what you might anticipate.
Oh, I like the setup. Okay.
There was a decision this week by the agency to approve specific vapes or vaping cigarettes, saying they're appropriate protection of public health. What does the president make of that decision? And does he support taxing e-cigarettes along with other more traditional tobacco products? I know this was an element of the Build Back Better paid for agenda originally. Does he still support doing that?
It wasn't something that he had proposed originally, so I would just note that. Obviously, we would. Some Democrats, but I think it's important context, right? That he didn't propose that. Yeah. Look, the FDA, as you noted, did approve some e-cigarettes. They spoke to this, and I would certainly point you to their comments. The president supports the independent review and process of the FDA. Beyond that, I'm not aware of any proposal for taxing cigarettes coming from here. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. What asked you to stop Ron Klain retweeted a message yesterday, not once but twice, that inflation and supply chain issues are high-class issues. But some of the sharpest price increases over the last month included products that every American buys: beef products, chicken, eggs, regular unleaded gasoline, laundry equipment, furniture, clothing, the list goes on. Why would Ron Klain tweet that? And would you agree that's a little bit tone deaf?
Do you think 2 tweets means more? I'm just curious. So just for context, what Ron Klain retweeted was a tweet from the former chairman of economic advisors, Jason Furman, where he said, for full context, which I think is important, most of the economic problems we're facing, inflation, supply chains, are high-class problems. When he went on to say is, we wouldn't have had them if unemployment rate was still 10%. We would instead have had a much worse problem. So I think the point here is, well, there are some critics who are saying what some of these critics are saying is we don't know if they're saying that what they thought was great was when the unemployment rate was double what it is today, or when people were locked in their homes and therefore gas prices were lower. We're at this point because the unemployment rate has come down and been cut in half, because people are buying more goods, because people are traveling, and because demand is up, and because the economy is turning back on. So Jason Furman, of course, is more than capable of speaking or tweeting for himself, obviously, and providing any additional context. But what the point is here is that we are at this point because we've made progress in the economy. And what would be worse, in our view, is if the unemployment rate was at 10%, people were out of work, hundreds of thousands of people were still dying of COVID, and people weren't able to lose their homes. So that's the full context.
Okay, did you catch all of that? It wasn't just me here, right? Hey, Hillbilly Homesteader. Nanya, Magic, did I miss anyone? That was 7 months ago. I don't know what the gas price was 7 months ago. It wasn't $5 national average. This blows my mind. She basically said, well, we've produced more jobs. No, the economy before the Rona was tooting along just fine. It was doing well. The Rona disrupted it. Like, believe it or don't believe it, it screwed everything up. Fine. But don't claim that you're making jobs. You didn't. You lost jobs, and then those jobs came back. I get what she's saying. Yeah, the economy's kicking up, and you're going to have demand that's going to bring prices up. But that was absolute. The reporter, by the way, wasn't like Fox or Breitbart or something. It was one of the other mainstream media. And she's asking, what about gas? What about milk, chicken, eggs, bread? And that was the answer she got. It's a high-class problem. So one would think they'd learn, right? You would think somebody'd be like, oh, hey, that didn't work out very well. So here we are 7 months later, we have a new person doing the blah, blah for the White House. And I want you to hear this one, because this one absolutely blows my mind. Let me see if I can get this going here. Hang on, y'all. I may have offended internet gods today. No, I offended the internet gods. They are angry at me. So while that has a conniption over there, so the new White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, pushed back Monday on claims that the administration bears responsibility for inflation and claims the American Rescue Plan put Americans in place where they can take on rising prices. Does anyone feel like $5 gas is awesome to take on? Because I'm not feeling it. Oh, okay. The video started. Hold on a second. So let's see if we get this going. Yeah, Sherry, exactly what I'm talking about. I was sitting there going, did this person... Oops, hold on just a second. Share screen, hold on just a second. Let me try that again. It may not let me. No, hold on. Well, we're having technical... Anyway, so according to her, the American Rescue Plan will allow all of you, at least those of you who live in the States, I know we have some folks in Canada, to take on rising prices. And then it said Americans must understand the position the president was in when he took office and asserted the U.S. economy is bouncing back. And of course, then we've got to remember the thinking about gas prices and food. This is coming from Putin's war in Ukraine. We had inflation. Now, remember, Jen Psaki in October said the inflation's a good thing because it means the economy's better. Now they're saying the inflation's because of the war and the Rona. Literally, if I can get this doggone thing to play nicely, it may not be letting me. It may be like, no, you will share nothing. Okay, let's see if it'll work now. There we go. Bingo. Success. Okay.
The war started. I remember when the first bombs dropped. I was on the air with Matthew Chance reporting live.
I remember I saw
many
you.
Economists do cite the war in Ukraine and supply chain issues. We did have that before the war, supply chain issues. They also say that last year's stimulus package, which you mentioned, contributed to inflation, Karine. Does the Biden administration bear some responsibility for this?
So first of all, the American Rescue Plan met the moment, and it has put us in a place where we can actually put us in a place where the American people feel can actually, we can take on inflation. What I mean by that is we've seen growth, right, with as I mentioned, more than 8 million jobs, and now we're transitioning into a stable growth. The president actually wrote an op-ed to discuss that himself, lay out his plan on how we're going to bring down inflation, and so that's really important. In order to take this on, we got to have some be in a good historic economic place.
That's in May. We haven't even looked at June yet, y'all. Okay, so you see how it seems like the people who are making the decisions don't really understand what's going on, whether they're deliberately lying or they're generally really clueless, or a combination of both. They don't know what they're doing. And sadly, I think that's across the board in Congress, right? You have a few really smart ones who are economically savvy, they're business people, or were lawyers, or have an economics degree that they understand. But yeah, no kidding. No kidding, Hayes Gray. That's the truth. So, and peppermint pendeja. Although Joe did spell pendeja right, so I'm very proud of him. They announced that they're working with, so they cause it, then announce they're working on ways to fix it. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It seems like they overreacted to everything, and now we're paying for it, and they don't know what to say, so they're blaming. Hey, Loretta, no, go eat with the grandkids. Go enjoy those babies. Absolutely have fun. But yeah, this just blows my mind. So I've often said, look, I don't trust the politicians across the board. There's some that are smarter than others, but I do have a little bit more faith in the financial analysts. And I'll tell you why, because their job is to make good calls. So if a financial analyst has been around for 25 years, it doesn't mean he's batting 1,000, but it means the person is generally smart enough to understand the trends and is kind of making forecasts. But if they screw up a lot, they don't last 25 years. Like, they'll make it 2 years, they'll lose a company $5 million and they'll get fired. And that's the end of their career. So I found another article or video, if you will. And this guy's absolutely annoyed with what's going on. So let me see if I can get this one going. So this is another political type, but he's actually an analyst as well, and he's trying to share his thoughts on why things are the way they are. Let's see. Okay, cool. It worked this time. Give me a second here, folks. There we go. Click the audio and let me know if you can hear this once it starts. She looks stoned right there, doesn't she?
Right. And you go back to December and November of last year, and you look at what they were saying about Joe Manchin, how he was a traitor to the cause, and feeding into the progressives line that you could print money until the end of time without having any inflation. It was BS, and the Democratic Party, starting at the head with Joe Biden, was falling for. It's kind of like these spoiled kids in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. I'm going to do a Greg Gutfeld analogy, where you see these mothers that are indulging their children. Oh, it's all right. Oh, look at that. Oh, honey, don't kick that old woman in the knee and everything. They were indulging the young progressives who don't know a thing about the economy, indulging and eventually they went a step too far, and they bought into the whole plan, whether it was in spending or in the Federal Reserve, and the house is burned down, as a result of indulging these brats.
They called it.
So I think he has a bit of a point there, that the party toppled so far to one side, they may not have really done their homework as to what was going to happen if they did what they did. And so here we are today. Now, the gas here is 450 something as of this morning. So if you're in the chat, put your unleaded, you're like 88, 89 octane, the cheap stuff, not the bougie premium for the hey Rob, what's going on? Throw in the chat what your last gas price you saw was today or yesterday, just to give a feel for where it is. If you want to put like the state or the area, it's like Calgary or Arizona or Phoenix or something like that, that's fine too. So Yardbirds is 489, so you're a little bit higher than me. Rob, 510. Wow, you're already over 5. And Magic's in Illinois. See, and that makes no sense because you guys are right on the pipeline. Holy crap, 687. You need to you may as well just get a horse at this point. No, then the feed will cost you too much because you can't find feed. Sure, $8.15 a gallon, 489. So it's right about, if you average us out, we're right about that $5 plus or minus. With the exception of California, which apparently they just, it makes me wonder. So if it's 687 in Cali, they must be taxing the crap out of you guys. 697 per gallon. Wow, at 515 bicycle. Yeah, actually, I was bicycle shopping the other day. I was actually looking for bikes. My Sassy is very small compared to me. So, I look and it's like a men's bike and, I need the 26-inch wheel, whatever. And then she's looking and she comes over and goes, I think I need a kid's bike. So we're trying to find an option. We may have to get Homegirl a custom bike, but it would probably be good for us. But I'm thinking for quick trips to the store, because our grocery store is not a mile away, unless we're buying a bunch, maybe ride bikes. I'm dead serious, guys. Well, Magic, there's something to that. I spoke to a couple of oil and gas company guys in the last few weeks, and one of them told me, he had a project coming up in the summer. He's now kicked it to the fall. And part of it was regulatory. He needed to do paperwork because they needed an exception to do certain things. But he said, honestly, I can't find shit. I can't find chems. I can't get crews. I can't, the rig company, because they'll subcontract a drilling rig to work for the operator, which is like the owner. So like Exxon hypothetically would rent out to like drilling company X, and drilling company X makes the well for Exxon with their supervision. He's like, I'm hoping it'll level off at the end of the year, because I can budget it, but what it's doing, it's starting to string out projects. And he said, we're in the energy sector. Another company, a drilling company, told me they used to be able to put a drilling rig online pretty quickly. Same thing. They've had to push an entire quarter, in some cases even more, because of lack of equipment. They can't find qualified personnel because a lot of them went somewhere else. Material, consumables, they just can't find it. So and now on top of that, the solar is also struggling, not so much to build, but they can't get materials. So, when you build a major infrastructure, you don't just like say, hey, let's build some shit, and they just build shit. You say, hey, we got to build stuff, and you're looking months out, and they're battling to get here. Wow, 625. Is that Oh, that's diesel. That's still ugly. See, and the diesel is in your trucks. It's in all the products we get are being driven around for the most part by diesel vehicles. You got some on trains, which are diesel for the most part. Even if there's some odd, there's some electric semis out there, great. They're still sucking off the grid, which is natural gas or coal, depending on where you are, maybe some nukes. Possibly. I'd be on board with that if like they didn't come and screw with me. But it really blew my mind that this was 7 months ago these folks made these claims, and here we are now, and it's not any better. Now they're blaming something else instead of saying, hey, look, we know we did this, it caused that. Now what we're trying to do is back away and kind of adjust. I could have lived with that. Hey, you made a call last year, it didn't work out, now we're in pain. So now you just own it and say, hey, we're adjusting and we're moving in this direction. I don't know, guys. I really am at a loss. Farmer's Son, welcome, welcome. Wait, and Farmer's Son jumped in. Hey, Farmer's Son, how are you? So let me see if I can find this one other that is not in any way, shape, or form what I was looking for. And the stocks make no sense. So Tesla and companies like Halliburton and companies that actually make shit or do things are taking a dive, but then GameStop went up. And Magic, that's scaring people, right? Because a lot of companies, a lot of them will leverage when they do a project, and they're afraid to leverage if they know they're going to get clobbered. So let's see if I can get this video up real quick. So bottom line is, it seems like the Fed's focused on trying to fix inflation, which is great, but there seems to be a lot of confusion or mixed signals from the leadership themselves. I'm going to share this article. It's not a video on this one, so I'll just share it real quick. Hey, Kentucky Survival. So, Orc Wildman, hello. So the S&P 500 closed in bear market territory. Okay, now they've been saying it took a dive, it took a dive. It keeps doing that. It's going to go into correction territory, which can be ugly. For the first time since March, the bear market is in a decline of 20% or more from recent highs. It's symbolic psychological hurdle for investors and often portends recession. And Mimi, that's something concerning. And you touch on something very valid. A lot of people are not getting it. Now, my one consolation is, at least, and my channels are not big. Well, TikTok got huge for some reason. I don't know why. But I'm seeing a lot of new people who are coming and reaching out to me, especially on Instagram. Hey, what is the difference between dehydrating and vacuum sealing? I'm getting those 101 questions, and I'm super happy to answer them, because that means this person suddenly went, oh, this is starting to suck. I need to do something. And instead of panicking, they're asking questions. And if they do that, that's great. But you're absolutely right. There's some people who are like, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. Like Dumb and Dumber. And what's going to happen, it's going to get ugly for a while, and then it'll level off, and then people start doing more things to make things right. Those folks are going to freak the hell out. And the people will cause the problem. So, but anyway, the Wall Street is spooked. The Federal Reserve, going to Magic's point, will be more aggressive than previously thought to cool inflation, perhaps triggering the economic downturn, which would be the rate hike. Stocks fell into so-called bear market on Monday after an intense sell-off. A bear market, technically speaking, is a 20% drop from the most recent high. So there's a lot going on. And it seems like the economists get it, right? These forecasters, they're seeing it. They're like, the Fed is a bunch of economy people. They're kind of seeing it and going, okay, well, we need to do whatever. And I don't know if they're too late, because remember, the Fed's kind of influenced by the administration, but the businesses are starting to react. And that's what I think is very cool. So I'm seeing people starting new businesses. I went to the farmer's market, guys, and I saw so many new tents selling jelly, canning, making jellies, canned veggies, no meats. One guy had a freeze dryer, so he was doing freeze dried foods. And I went and talked to him, and I'm talking to the guy, and his wife goes, "You look really familiar. Didn't you used to do farmer's market?" And she's like trying to place me, and I'm talking to him, and she goes, "You're on YouTube." I've run into followers now 4 times here in Texas, which is really weird, you know. But people are starting to do it. People do not believe me. They're indifferent. Yeah, see that, and it's frustrating. No, they are starting to freak out. And the problem is they'll all freak out at once. We've been systemically doing this for the most part, right? 452 and slide out. You're not too far from what we are. Yeah. So that's still significant. That's not far under the 1%. So I only have 8 now right now, but well, I'm trying to catch up to the chat here. And and that's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing. If I can help 1 out of 20 people, the more power to that one person. Good for them. And they may not be able to prep the way I do, and I couldn't prep the way some folks, like some of y'all, like if you've seen the milkmaid and all the stuff she does, she's got a whole full-blown farm. I can't do that, but a farmer's son has a big old farm, but there's no reason I can't do what's within my box to do. And there's no reason everyone doesn't calmly. They don't need to freak out. They just go find it and off they go. I can't ride a bike to where I work. No. Well, you get run over on that damn bridge too. I know where you live. So afternoon magic. Hold on. I don't know if it's the type A or the type like Q or W. I like it. You're either paying attention or you don't. And it just blows my mind that folks, you're seeing the indicators, and this guy's an old turd of a person, but he's super smart. Let me see if I can get him on here real quick. I've got a stupid article. It's going to go and blow my eardrums off. Okay, so I'm going to wait for the symbolic commercial to go by. They tell me to stop talking about the stuff. And that's all you can do, right? And I think the worst one, I have it easier. And you guys in the chat, tell me if this is the case with you. I find it easier to talk preparedness and, being ready, whether it's for hurricane, an economic collapse, whatever is your motivation, right? I find it harder to speak to certain family members than to complete strangers in the grocery store. And I sneak that into conversations. I'm looking at the meat prices. I'm kind of cursing to myself, like, and the guy next to me goes, "Yeah, those prices are up 35%. Like he calculated the percentage. And, we started talking and he's like, "Yeah, I told him, he's like, I'm trying to save vegetables, but the cans take up too much room." So we start talking about dehydrating. And all of a sudden, I realize I've interacted with these complete strangers, and 3 or 4 of them have now walked away looking at their coupons they pulled from their little book, and they're like, maybe we can get more of these. That's all we can do. All we can do is point out and say, hey, you should take steps. Will the world explode? No, the world's not going to explode. We're going to come out on the other end of this. But why be in a shit situation during the downswing? There's no need for that. I want to be ready for when things come roaring back at some point, which they will. I want to be ready to be part of that. So I assume you mean a coop, not a coop like a chicken coop. Otherwise, that would confuse the heck out of me. I have 2 bedrooms full. Oh, wow. It goes to extreme. I have some amazingly intelligent people in my family who get it. And I think that's it, Kentucky. I think they just don't want to hear it because it freaks them out. And it's easier to say, oh, I don't want to, I can't handle that. Have you heard that one? I can't think about it. It stresses me out and they don't want to talk. And you're like, no, go buy ramen noodles, stupid. It's just frustrating. Hey, milkmaid, I was just praising your farm and all the stuff you do and how, like, because I'm in a subdivision, there's no way I can do that. Although the rancher's cow decided to take a run down the street the other day, and somebody sent their border collie after it, and they actually herded it back to the gate, which was really funny because there's a farm at the end of the subdivision. Acme cows, just had water. Yeah. Gold, guns, jewelry, tools. We talk about guns a lot, but hand tools. If things get bad, those are going to be important. Yeah, to me, it's just fascinating. I mean, in a morbid way, but it's a chance to do something. Mimi, friends and family look at me like a deer in the headlights, and then change the subject. So I finally got people to start listening, and in the family, and granted, I have one son and his wife are on an army base, so that's, they have a whole different situation, and there's preparedness done there for the military reasons. But my daughter and her fiance were like, oh, you know what, I don't like this, I know what we'll do, and they bought a plot of land. They're in their 20s. God bless them. I'm so excited. I wish I'd have done that. I wasn't able to, but they could. And that makes me happy. And, wherever they go now, that's going to build wealth and security, and whether it's food security or financial security. So, I keep talking because I'm hoping I can reach out to people and make those kind of little differences. Yes. Oh my goodness, wait, I have a ranch of 35 hens, 200 head. See, and if you're in a position to do that, that's cool. So this weekend, I went through, you remember I told you guys I go through different sections of my preps, and I pick one each weekend, and I'm like, okay, this weekend is batteries, next weekend is dehydrating. I'm doing 2 now because I can do them without a lot of stress. I'm dehydrating veggies. I got a bunch of them in the freezer. I'm throwing them in the dehydrator. And the other one is I went through my inventory of canned goods. There's certain things we use so much, I just know if there's a expired can in there, it's an one-off because I know we use this all the time. But there's some you buy seasonally. And so I pulled, and I had a bunch of cans that would expire in the next month. By the time I actually paid attention to them in the winter, they'd probably be past expiration, and then you'd start getting sus. I don't trust the cans with the little pull tabs as much as the fully sealed ones. But I pulled them all out. Hey, Nikki, did Nikki jump in here? Hey, my dog can listen to. Hey, good afternoon. So I collected all the cans that were still good. I threw one was really jacked up. It was all warped and shit, so trash. Took all the other ones. I called the church down the street, which is by my beer joint. And I called them and I said, hey, do you guys take donations? They said, we have a Mission Agape in the back. It's a multi-church food pantry. They don't resell. And I showed up there with these boxes of cans, and it's just stuff I don't normally use. And I spoke to the people there, and they said, you have no idea how bad it is in the rural areas outside the city, where they're out of the county or they're out of the city limits and there's less infrastructure. We've got families in need, we got schools in need. And I said, well, some of these may expire within a month. And she looked at me and said, they'll be gone and probably consumed in less than 5 days. She said, it's that bad. Like we used to do this 2 days a week. Ever since everything went downhill, it's 7 days a week. Volunteers from different churches are at this food house. The mosque down the street is actually starting to do like little events where they have like you can buy basically like a little farmers market of their own. Everyone's stepping up, all the people of faith, which to me was awesome. But yeah, just bringing that food. So guys, if you have stuff that you're not going to use and it hasn't expired or spoiled, bring it to one of the food donations, Mission Agape, local food bank, whatever it is, the community, and let it get used. Now's not a time to waste a thing. And anything I need to buy, I'll buy fresh. I'm still where we can get away with, spending a few bucks on a few extra cans. My goal, I know I can eat stuff past the expiration, but my goal is to, if something happens tomorrow, I have the freshest product mix possible in the pantry when the lights go out. And if I can feed someone else while I'm doing it, that would be great. So sorry, I went on a rant there. We should reload. Fortunately, that's enough. Yeah. And reloading can be expensive up front, and it saves you a boatload of money later. I'm great again. Yeah, no, that's my better half, the little woman who lives in the house, who decided one day she was going to put a door where a wall was, or there was a doorway. She decided, I'm going to close it and make it a solid wall, because it was like a study with 2 entrances. We're going to make it into a 3-bedroom house. And I was working offshore. I came in, and literally she had collapsed one of the walls. All the sheetrock was on the floor. The frame was still up, and it was midnight. I'm like, well, I'm not sleepy right now, so I guess we can start working on it. She bought all the materials. She's sitting there on the floor looking completely sad, like a cat that just got wet. And she's like, it looks so much easier in my mind. And then the whole sheetrock came down. So yeah, and you got to go with your personal finances and what's available, right? A lot of the stuff I donated was good, but I use it once a year. Whereas the stuff I use every week, I'm going to be much less likely to give away. Watering and feeding the effing chickens. Okay, are chickens truly that stupid? Because my son was an FFA chicken raiser, and I went to help him, and there was a chicken dead in the water bowl. It drowned its head. I thought it just had a heart attack and died. And he said, no, it probably drowned. Do chickens drown in their own water? Oh, wow. See, yeah. And you can write it off. And I'm not an accountant, but there's certain things you can write off either as a charitable donation. And if you do that, ask for a receipt or a statement. Joe's got a great point there. If you do larger items, like you donate a whole fridge that's still working because you got a new one, you can do the resale price or something. Knock some off your taxes. Why the hell not? They're giving our taxes to freaking Ukraine anyway. That's tough. See, no, and copycat. A lot of what I had was stuff I make chili with, so there were a lot of canned tomatoes, canned tomato sauce, and that I don't trust as much as like green beans in a can, right? Yeah, and that's what I was doing. I pulled all the cans out of one section of the preps. I went through them all. I reorganized them because sometimes you get lazy, right? You come in late, you've been shopping all day, or you've been on a road trip, and you picked up something on the way home, and you're like, here, cans, and you just kind of throw them in there and close the door. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, shit, there's a mess in there. Now I have to clean it. Post office couldn't do their annual food drive because the food pantry didn't have the volunteer staff. And Mimi, that's another thing. So when I met the Mission Agape folks, my company has an internal organization endorsed by the company that's meant to do community outreach, and they do things like fundraisers for elementary school, stuff like that. She said they really need help packing the little boxes because they'll designate one box per family. And they also trade with other food banks, other churches in the area. So another church may say, hey, I need tomato paste. They may have a multitude of it. They'll say, hey, we'll send you tomato paste. Can you send us green beans? So if you can volunteer time, it's free on the weekends, or if you have any spare time. And yeah, the overwhelm is most definitely real. I absolutely feel you there. Oh, man, the chat just took off on me. Hold on. Yeah, reloading would be great. I don't have a suitable place. Um, smarter than CNN. Wow. No, and magic, that's important too, because I actually had to take a break a few weeks ago. Partly because it's just like you just get exhausted, you become stupid. Like literally your brain says, yeah, you're done. I have no interest in your shit. And then you're just loving tomatoes in there. I don't know. I'm a New Yorker who moved to Texas, so I got this hybrid thing going on. I'll make one night I'll make shrimp scampi, with the fresh shrimp, or chicken scampi, with an Alfredo salad on the side, or not an Alfredo salad, a Caesar salad on the side. And the next day I'm making, you know, tacos gordos, and it's like it just stuff pops in my head and I make it. Trying to dehydrate ketchup next. That's interesting. Hey, asymmetrical, what's going on? Glad you can make it. So, folks, one, pace yourselves, right? Don't make yourselves absolutely crazy. But if you can donate some time, I'm going to see if my coworkers and I can get a big enough group to help this Mission Agape folks here, get them extra hands to pack those packages. If you can donate stuff, if you go through your preps and you're near, uh, you're very close to expiration, and you can donate them. Like I said, I brought this little box. I didn't think it was much, about 15, 20 mixed cans in there of different crap. And I went there and she said, I promise you, this will go with the rest of what we have. This will be gone in a week. She said, I'll look through them, but right now the expiration date, if it's more than today, it's not going to be a big deal. She's seeing a lot of people donating, and I'm glad you're able to make it, Mike. It's the more beans, the better. The more beans, the better. Okay, now we're going to have the argument between the Texans and everyone else about beans, no beans. But folks, do those things. It's so important that during the hard times, we not forget our humanity. It doesn't mean be nice and be stupid and get mugged, right? We covered situational awareness on my last live, all those videos of people getting. See, okay, so I'm not the only one. I started a batch this morning. It'll go till tomorrow. And by the way, folks, to Asymmetrical's point, remember the frozen bags that are really cheap usually, right? The little HEB or whatever brand you have, Kroger, the 1 pound frozen veggies, they're already cut, already washed, already blanched. You literally just shake a little bit of ice off them, stick them in the dehydrator, and set it to the correct setting and walk away. So, oh, hold on a second here. And hold on, I have technical difficulties here. Bear with me a second. So I want to do, let me see. I'm going to let this guy do a quick video here. No beans, dang it all. So now everyone's arguing about the beans. We talk about important stuff on the Roaming Prepper Lives. Beans and drowning chickens. Let me see if I can get this video up. So this John Katzimatidis is a Gristedes food CEO and a talk show host. Dehydrated peas never go back without staying hard. Oh, I'm glad you told me that. That was going to be my next batch. By the way, dehydrated broccoli is a suitable treat for a dog. So if you want to give a healthy treat to your pet and you can't find your treat at the pet store, get some $1 broccoli, dehydrate them, and you can do it in your oven too at about 150 degrees. Put the little tray and just let them sit there, but you're going to have to do it overnight. Mint, lemon balm, dock, and oregano. AP is getting fancy here, folks. Ooh, and a good oregano in a pasta dish. Okay, anyway, I'm getting distracted by dinner thoughts. Okay, so this is Maria Baratomo interviewing John Katzimatidis. You'd think I grew up with Greek kids too. I know how to say it. His opinion, another food CEO. Now, I showed Goya 2 weeks ago, and he had all sorts of thoughts. Let's listen to what he says.
Oil prices climbing this morning. Brent
audio,
and West Texas Intermediate both up about half of $1 per barrel. $1.19, $1.20 for Brent, $1.19 for West Texas Intermediate. This is the national average for a gallon of regular unleaded, hitting an all-time high this morning of $4.86 a gallon. Diesel at another new record high of $5.64 a gallon today. Joining me now, the chairman and CEO of United Refining Company, Gristedes and D'Agostino Foods, also the Red Apple Group chief, John Katzimatidis. John, will this only get worse for the American people?
It will get worse, which is very, very sad. It doesn't have to happen. As I said before last week, I said it last week, a recession does not have to happen. What the obsession that President Biden has with not turning on the spigots in North America, in Canada, Alaska, and let America, North America, we have 100 years worth of oil. Let them open up the spigots, and the price of crude oil will come back down to 55, 60, maybe 65, half. Nobody can understand. All the people I talk to, nobody can understand why this obsession with North America. He wants to fly to Saudi Arabia and beg the Saudi Arabians to give us another 500,000 barrels at $120 a barrel. Does that make any sense at all? It makes no sense. And what's going to happen, he wants to force the, and I disagree with our own economists, that our own friends, that they raise the interest rates by the Fed, because what's going to happen? Instead of bringing down the price of oil and controlling recession, increase the price of interest rates, and guess what? It'll wipe out the real estate industry. It'll wipe out everything else in America. Somebody's on a path to try to destruct America, and somebody has to say, guys, enough is enough. I hope we have enough common sense Democratic senators to say enough is enough. Why are we destroying America? And you know what the cost has been to the American people because of the rising gas prices, the cost of the rising food prices?
Absolutely.
It's going to go even higher with $120 oil. It's going to go even higher. I mean, I am begging.
John, especially with...
I'll finish my sentence. I'm begging the White House. I am begging President Biden. Enough is enough. I'm begging the Democratic senators. Enough is enough. Turn on the spigots in North America. Don't go and beg Iran for crude oil for $120, make them richer. Don't beg Saudi Arabia for crude oil. Don't beg Venezuela for crude oil. We have it. And nobody can understand it.
I agree with you. Nobody can understand it. Not even nobody in America can understand it. People who are suffering and whose standard of living is collapsed because of just the cost of fuel, particularly diesel. John, before we go, talk about, particularly as a manager of multiple businesses, grocery stores, just how insidious inflation is to all businesses in terms of being able to manage it, and just what it's like in the grocery stores that you operate, and what you anticipate, particularly with diesel at every day new all-time highs.
Milkmaid's point.
70% of all transportation to grocery stores in the whole country is made by truck, and they use diesel fuel. And also our factories that make the food, that process the food, is diesel fuel. The price of diesel fuel went double, and it's going to go even higher. So what does that mean? The food price is going to go even higher unless we grab control. And forget about, it's not the problem of the food companies. It all goes back to the rising prices of oil, crude oil, and what's happening in America today. And we're transferring our wealth in America to foreign countries. That's what we're doing.
And John, it started the first day that Joe Biden took office, and we all talked about it, that by crushing our energy sector, you hand our power and our prosperity to nations that hate us. And that's exactly what has gone on, and made working Americans poor in the process. Final word.
It's just mind-boggling, mind-boggling. If foreign nations elected Joe Biden, they couldn't have done a better job.
John Catsimatidis, please come back.
John Catsimatidis, I guess that's how you say his name. I like watching him. He's one of those guys. He's got no filter. He's not as obnoxious as President Trump was, but he gets to the point pretty quick. Now, this was 3 weeks ago or a month ago. Right now, even if they've waited too long, even if they said, let's open up, let's build more solar, more wind, more drilling rigs, everything, more everything. How the hell are we going to get the parts? So we're ahead of the curve, folks. All of us in this chat, all of us who've been kind of stalking, do smart things, right? If you got, if you play in the stock market, you may want to have some extra cash, sell something there and sit on it. A, in case there's an emergency at home, you have it. And B, if the market goes down and comes up, you can try and catch the upswing. But invest in the things you need to invest and help the people around you if you can, safely. Don't give strangers drives. Don't, do dumb shit and get mugged. I don't want you to do that. Edwin there. So, yeah, I've heard different analysts in the energy sector saying that they're afraid it could go 150, 160, 180 a barrel oil, which would be an absolute disaster for the country. And it would be an absolute disaster everywhere. It would just screw everyone. As it is, Iran and 2 countries in Africa are already reporting riots in the street because of inflation and food. Okay, the food riots start in the small countries. Those are the canaries in the proverbial cave. Watch those. And you don't see it on the mainstream media. You got to dig around into regional news and, like the Israeli news or the Russian news, if it's still online or whatever. Yeah. And like I said, I've been listening to economists, and now the economist guy who normally would be like, you know, don't buy Tesla this week, buy this week, and then sit on it for 2 years and then sell it and take that over here. They're saying, get into safe long-term companies, get some cash, buy extra food, buy gas, buy this, buy that. And but they're all saying systemically, do it systemically. Folks, by the time the general public, the people who are not aware, realize what's happening, they're going to freak out. They're all going to do exactly what happened during the Rona. They're going to hit everything at once. The prices will take off and the availability will go to zero. I don't want to be in the street if that happens. I want to be at home. But if you're doing your rotation of your preps, you're going through your foods, you find stuff that hasn't expired, but somebody else can use it. Guys, donate it. Let someone use it. Hey, Bug Dude. By the way, I love that Herbie logo. That like makes me so happy. They can pay for my gas. And you know, Mimi's been on fire this chat. Another good point. If you can do a side hustle, right? If you're good with woodworking, if you're good with electrical. I've been asked by some college kids locally, they were looking for someone to proofread term papers. I've got a master's degree. I've written so many freaking papers in and out of work. It's not even funny. You know, find a side gig. Sassy's planning to do, get a small embroidery machine, maybe do shirts and hats. So if you can find a little thing on the side, either to save money or to make money, that's not a bad thing. And now's a good time to kind of do that. All of the economic. See, and that's a sign, because remember, an economist, if they really suck and they keep getting it wrong, they get fired, right? They lose their reputation. So when you have reputable economists who people are like, okay, you usually say the right thing, all of a sudden say, go buy food. And people are like, what? It's going to get ugly. Goes down, goes. Red, that is a brilliant idea. Or a biohazard sign. COVID-22, do not come to the house. Now I said the bad word, so I might get banned. We'll see. Hey, Oz. Hey, Mr. Working Towards Dinner. My side hustle. Yeah. Just don't make it look abandoned, because then they may want to go in just to see what's there. So yeah, folks, look, there's a lot going on. I was super happy to be able to go through my preps. I found a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to use and had not expired. It wasn't bad. I was able to donate it. Somebody else is going to use it. That makes me happy. If I need that stuff again, I'll double check what I've been using, and I'll fill in the gaps bit by bit. Pick your battles. I know a few of us were in here. I'm doing 2 things at once this next 2 days. A lot of us are like, oh, I got multiple things going on. Pace yourself. Cool your jets and pick your priorities, and then try and blow through them as quickly as possible. If you can do 2 things at once, like you dehydrate on the counter and then you go and do something else, great. Dehydrating's so easy because the machine does the work. You go, you put all the crap in there, push the buttons, and I go do other things. But guys, ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye on the way these things are moving. This is the second food company CEO that said we're going to have a problem. And this was 3 weeks ago. No. And ironically, it did not collapse in a day. A lot of people, it sounds like it when you read books, but in reality, it was a very slow descent into crap. And then out of that, new nations formed. So I know it sounds odd, but I'm already in the mindset of we're going to have that fourth turning. We're going to have that ugly. I want to be ready for what's on the other side of it. And I'm seeing some very young people stepping up, young people listening. And I'm thinking all those little, all the Gen Z kids that we pick on, a lot of these knuckleheads, you're going to find some really good leaders in there. Some of them their little eyes are going to open and they're going to say, whoa, this is not cool. And they're going to do what they have to do. I hope either that or, there'll be one of them, bunch of people running in the street freaking out. But like the U.S. is slow down, something like that. But folks, there is one economist that had a really positive spin on it, but he said it'll get ugly and then we'll benefit from it. Let me see if he can. It's just an article, so I'm gonna read it out to you, but I'll show you the article just so you guys can see it. So this is an economist, Mark Hulbert. Those who buy stocks or invest in a bear market made an average of 22%. He's talking about analytics. True. And the Ottoman Empire was partly the recreation. Well, the Ottomans, first you had the Eastern Catholic Church and the Western, then they got into it, and then you had the Ottomans came in and took everything. Yeah. It will make people, they'll either fail or they will face the challenge. And I'm hoping to be on this earth long enough to see those people do that, because I think that will lead to great times. I'll tell you what, when the interwebs goes down and they can't TikTok and take pictures of their butt on Instagram, they're going to pay attention real quick. By the way, if you have not read World War Z, the book by Max Brooks, who, for those of you who are Mel Brooks fans, the guy who made Spaceballs and the Princess Diaries, the Princess Bride, sorry, not the Princess Diaries, the Princess Bride. It was his son who wrote World War Z, which was meant as a comedy book before it became a serious movie. And he mentions one gamer who was on his game, the whole world's being destroyed outside, and he never left his game room. And then all of a sudden he's calling mom to bring food, and mom is dead in the hallway. And years later, now he's like some like apocalyptic samurai, but that's where he came from. So, but anyway, okay, so he says, if you were eager to buy stocks at the beginning of the year when the S&P was 20% higher, why aren't you even more eager now? The gist of his thing is, with a downturn, with the hard times, comes opportunities to learn, to grow, or to profit, to make that company or to be part of something and catch it on the upswing. So Max Brooks wrote World War Z. He's the son of the director Mel Brooks, who did Spaceballs, Blazing Saddles, Princess Bride. He was a 70s, 80s director. Hey, Rip. Being lobbed from catapults. That's an image. See, that should be a project. Roaming engineering. We're going to make a catapult that throws stools. Footstools, not stool from the floor. That would be gross. But yeah, so basically his thing is, it's important to acknowledge that the 22.7% is an average. It didn't work out this well for everyone. And 2 of the 12 major declines since World War II, where the S&P fell by more than 20%, you would have been sitting on a loss. But in those 2 cases, you eventually came out ahead. So basically, Blazing Saddles was the funniest. So I let both my sons watch it in their teens. I said, this was the humor when I was your age. I had to pause the movie because one of them almost peed himself. He's like, I got to go to the bathroom. He had tears running down his face. That and Eddie Murphy Delirious, which he'd never seen. And he was old enough to hear that. So, It explains why they have the sense of humor they have now. So you might object that this time is different, arguing that stocks are entering a longer and more severe bear market. In recent days, I've received an email of emails from you uh, about this argument. But so long as you believe that things will go back up and surpass their highs, purchases, essentially he's going through a lot of technical jargon, basically, and this is on Market Watch. True, unless the company takes off. So there's a double-edged sword there. But yeah, Eddie Murphy Raw, and that's some raunchy humor, that guy. But what he was saying in a nutshell is there can be opportunities to start that business you wanted, invest in things you didn't think you'd be able to, learn a new skill to create a side hustle, or take the time to help people who are truly in desperate need. So, guys, in hard times, there's always that other side of it. So, all of y'all keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to keep trying to do what I'm doing with the intent that we'll all be on the other side of this better off than the people around us. And if we can help a few of them, great. But if not, the ones in our circle will come out better off because we did those things now. And I'm okay with that. So, and if, again, you can donate time to the food bank, whatever, help some folks out, please do it. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it here. We've been an hour and 15 minutes. Don't forget to come join me and Jason later tonight. And we're going to go talk smack to the universe and say bad words and all that good stuff. So I will see you all later. God bless, Godspeed, take care. And don't forget, if you can help someone or donate to those in need from stuff you're not going to use, I think karma comes back. So put good karma out there and hopefully you get the blessings back. You guys be safe, and I will see you later tonight. Be good, guys.